got till 5 o'clock. You hear me? You got till 5 o'clock.
You freaking psychopath!
Clean yourself up.
What the hell happened to you?
I, fell down the stairs.
Well, you should be more careful.
Viewer discretion is advised.
James Dolan is the petulant son of Charles Dolan, who founded Cablevision, and is the walking embodiment of a meddling, spoiled rich kid who has no business running an NBA franchise. Essentially the Jim Irsay of the NBA, Dolan pretty much cares more about his band than making the Knicks a winner, with his odd boner for Isaiah Thomas Sr. and idiotic move after idiotic move. Thank God he has no clue what hockey is, though the Rangers suck now. And finally, the New York Knicks. As I said earlier, this team will get it pretty hard, as I know them all too well. So it's been, I don't know, 40 plus years since this team won a championship, and they have been in the league since 1946, and they only have 2. Let's just rip these band-aids off. Reggie scoring 8 in 9 seconds. Patrick Ewing missing that wide open layup, and then Reggie doing it to us again. Losing the finals to the Rockets when in Game 7, John Starks thought he was on fire. The Spurs completely dominating the aging Knicks. Scott Layden giving Allen Houston all the money, and then Isaiah slapping girls' butts and ruining this team, ushering in the Stevie franchise, Starberry, Stoudemire era. Amari punching glass and missing playoff games. Really, dude? Then trading for the carcinoma that is Carmelo Anthony, the 10 minutes that was Linsanity, and of course the Phil Jackson fiasco. Phil Jackson, please stick to smoking weed and running the triangle with the greatest players the NBA has ever seen, because being a GM just isn't your thing. And winning with this team isn't either, as there is no hope in sight as long as Dolan owns this team. That name should trigger Knick fans more than all of the shit that I just mentioned. Fucking Knicks, damn it. Now I'm triggered. It's time to drink some tequila and start a fight with my bathroom door. To all the whiny, salty Knick fans, you know I hate you, right? By the way, I'm perfectly comfortable doing nothing this offseason, even though there is really no point, being that we are in the East. And you know there is no way I'm selling this team and bringing in people that know what they are doing. Signed, James Dolan. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Knicks! Here's your 62-point blowout at the hands of your in-state rival. The Knicks starters were actually decent in this game, with Willie Knowles, Jim Palmer, and Rich Guerin all scoring at least 19 points. It was their bench that was bad, scoring 21 points total, as the Nationals blew their doors off with 10 players in double figures, led by Hal Greer and Dave Gamby with 24 each. Real quick, these aren't ranked in any particular order, but there are 4 teams that do not have mascots: the Knicks, the Nets, the Warriors, and the Lakers. MSG is the only arena in the NBA which technically does not have a corporate sponsor, as the Madison Square Garden Company owns the building. Surprisingly, this is not the oldest facility in the NBA, but it is the 4th version of MSG, the first being built in 1879, the second in 1890, and the third in 1925. The actual Madison Square, for which the current building and all previous iterations are named for, is not in the area. Just like the Knicks aren't in the area of being a contending basketball team. The Knicks ought to be charged with cheating their fans out of money for the past 20 years, but James Dolan got fined in 2018 over $600K for not following FTC rules for announcing large acquisitions. I can't wait until he announces a large asset he has for sale.
Knicks basketball, you think lolcow them. It's all but sewn into the fabric of the NBA equilibrium. They've been one of the longest running soap operas in sports. The drama of off-court antics, the comedy act that is their on-court prowess, and the good versus evil struggle of ownership and players alike. There was a brief respite from this tension in the 90s. They had a strong team led by Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, and John Starks. The major problem was that they usually played second fiddle to the Bulls. Even when they made the finals, those teams could never win the championship that's been missing since the 1970s. Once they were gone, the team fell to shame, a laughingstock. It can't get any worse for them, right? Well, Isaiah Thomas is telling you to hold his drink. The Knicks have always been about getting names instead of creating their own. It's always been about the flashy, sexy moves that look good, but don't do a damn thing in the long run. Oh hey, Carmelo Anthony is available. Let's go get him. Amare Stoudemire is ripe for the taking too. We need to have him as well. This isn't like Stephon Marbury or Eddie Curry. They're big names, so they have to be good for us. They've never based their moves on roster cohesion or scheme fit, which is why they've usually struggled or have been mediocre at best. But this was supposed to change in 2013. There's a new sheriff in town. Phil Jackson, the motherfucking Zen Master, the soothsayer of superstars and egos alike. Unfortunately, nobody told Phil that being a great head coach doesn't translate into being a great executive. Mike Holmgren has first-hand experience in this phenomenon. His tenure with the Knicks has been as archaic and outdated as the triangle offense. His first move was to install a puppet at the head coaching position. Steve Kerr saw through this facade, but he ended up getting another former player named Derek Fisher. He was terrible and didn't work out. His new puppet is Jeff Hornacek. So far, he is not working out. Every year has been full of roster overhauls that are uninspired. Look at this past offseason. It was the same shit they've been doing for years now. Big, sexy names that aren't optimal for the style of play they use. Oh boy, an aging, injury-riddled Joakim Noah is available in free agency. We need to atone for the Eddie Curry trade. He's perfect for the 5. Let's go get his teammate and Derrick Rose as well. Sure, the guy hasn't been healthy in 5 years and doesn't fit the triangle at all, but it doesn't matter. Did you see him in 2011? We've got Porzingis and Carmelo as well. We are set for a championship. Unfortunately, that championship is the toilet bowl. Even in that contest, they lose. How could they win it with such excellent defense?
Nope. Deadman? Nope. No. Watch out. Deadman.
On second thought, they are contenders in off-court clown shows. D-Rose, turns out he can just no-call, no-show random games and not tell anyone on the team where the fuck he is. He's also performed the ultimate sacrilege in criticizing Phil Jackson's precious triangle. He was obviously punished by the Zen Master with yet another knee injury. Joakim Noah is rewarded by proxy with more injuries and a 20-game suspension. Even more inane is the feud between Phil and Carmelo. While Carmelo has never led the Knicks anywhere far, he is still one of the best players the team has. The mere existence of him on this team has obviously bruised Phil's ego. Jackson has responded by routinely deflowering Carmelo to the media in the hopes that he will waive the no-trade clause that Mr. Jackson signed him to. In the most unsurprising plot twist imaginable, Anthony is still a Knick. But it gets more laughable. Meet James Dolan, the majority owner of the Knicks. Long story short, the man is a total clown who cares more for his shitty house band than his basketball team. Unfortunately, you can't just bribe the NBA into giving the team wins like he pays to open shows for national acts. The majority of his 18-year tenure as owner has been full of terrible teams, personnel, and PR nightmares. His feud with Charles Oakley this season was another massive black eye for the organization. Regardless of who is at fault for his ejection a few months ago, Dolan has acted like a passive-aggressive twat. After the debacle, Dolan declared that Oakley was banned from the Garden for life. He then backtracks and said it was just for the short-term future. It's okay though, he fired his top security guard. When Irving Bierman sent mail to him a few years ago saying that he sucks and urged him to sell the team, he got triggered. He called Irving a malcontent, an alcoholic, and, quote, start rooting for the Nets because the Knicks don't want you. Have you seen that team? That's a punishment worse than death. In fact, this clown is so short-sighted that he rehired Isaiah Thomas to manage the New York Liberty, a women's basketball team. Isaiah Thomas has been accused of sexual harassment. The irony is delicious. This is what Knicks fans have to deal with nowadays. A triangle of offensiveness. The clown music aficionado banning people for triggering him. A stubborn, egotistical executive who cares only for a triangle. And an incompetent boob who also happens to grope them as well. The only bright spot for the Knicks right now is Kristaps Porzingis, whom their fans absolutely loathed when he was drafted. Not even 2 years into his tenure, he is pissed and about to Latvian Hulk smash his way out of New York. To the Knicks, this is just your average Thursday. Might as well be the fucking Bermuda Triangle at this rate. At least MSG has the Rangers.
In the Rangers season, Pajot hits the target.
Huh.